So yeah, man, let's just jump right in. Like, who are you? And I know you live in New York and you're 16, right? You're 16?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. So you are um, a teenager by modern standards, but you're about
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
an adult in like 2 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. Scared. I'm scared,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, man. Thanks for being on the podcast. And I know that we only just talked on the phone like not even an hour ago, and that's the
Yeah.
only time we've ever talked besides social media. So,
Yeah.
but like I said, I have a broken foot, so I have a lot of flexibility right now with my time, and so
Yeah.
this also helps me get to hang out with someone today too. Yeah, man. Where does your like a lot of times when I've done these talks, I'm talking to people who are like adults and they're
Yeah.
probably in their 30s or 40s or 50s, something like that.
Mhm.
So usually I say, hey, go back to childhood. And is that where depression starts or whatever? A lot of times it's true that things start in childhood, but then you're also still developing. So do you think you've had this stuff going on for most of your life?
A lot of the stuff I've had, like, just ever since I was born, and then, just mental health issues and stuff. And then other stuff, I've kind of gained, like, through whether it be trauma or just like other bad experiences and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So I guess it's more of a 50-50 of like experiences I've gained, negative
yeah.
ones, or like stuff that's from birth.
Okay. And yeah, you were telling me that you're adopted or you were
Yeah.
are adopted.
Yeah.
So
Adopt.
do you know much about your like real not real parents, that's not the right
Yeah.
way to say it. You know what I mean? Like your
Yeah,
birth.
yeah, I get it. I get it. Um,
Yeah.
I had somebody call them my bio parents. I don't like that. It sounds so weird. Like, oh, what do you think
Okay.
about your bio parents? It just sounds so weird. I'd rather say real
Yeah, we
parents
probably
than
all say it
bio.
wrong. Probably all say it wrong. But yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I mean, I was adopted from birth, but
Right.
I don't really know much about them other than from stories like, my parents have told me. Um, And also, not to give, I say my parents, the parents that adopted me. So that's if it gets confusing, that's just like I
Yeah,
say my
yeah.
parents because that's like the only like parents I've ever known. So that's why,
Right.
you know what I mean.
Well,
But
yeah, some theories is, that some of these things are passed down genetically, which sometimes kind of sounds a little bit like you don't have a choice. It's just like you were born, it's like being born
yeah,
into, money or poverty or something. It's like well, you didn't choose that. You just kind of grew up with it. So that could be true, or it could totally be like more the environment that you're in has kind of
yeah,
shaped you. So when you say that, you said the word trauma, which is
mhm,
a very common word these days to use with these
mhm.
things, like what are some of the traumas?
I would say I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. You tell me. I
Right.
I call it trauma when it's like the worst experience I've ever had. I've had stuff that's happened to me that other people are like, that's not good, man. I'm like, that doesn't really bother me. So I
Okay.
usually wait until it's like up here to say like, yeah, I have trauma. I don't
Yeah.
like bullying, all that. That's not like trauma, even though it could be traumatic for some other people because I know like trauma is subjective. But
Right.
like for me, it's just like if you're dealing with something your whole life, you're kind of more equipped to be able to deal with it. So it's not something that bothers me. I'm talking like deep rooted stuff. That's when I call it like trauma.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Also, part of it is if you have these things that happen to you. I mean, us, the collective kind of us, right? That um, what do you do with the pain of that thing? Obviously, depending on what it is.
Hmm.
I had a pretty rough relationship with my dad growing up.
Yeah.
He was uh, more like verbally abusive. Not he didn't
Hmm.
hit me or anything, And I played hockey and I tried to let it all out playing hockey, but that wasn't that didn't change what happened to me either. So a lot of times we don't, maybe we for somebody to have like two really good parents, you're like, wow, bonus, dude. That's great.
Yeah,
Like some people it's like, but also not to like how do you deal with those things? Or how have you dealt with that feeling pain or rejection or misunderstood or whatever?
music, man. I'm an artist,
Yeah.
so music has really helped me. And not only do I like making music and having that outlet, to like express my feelings, but also listening to music and like being able to like feel like the people are like it feels like the people are speaking to me, you know what I mean? When I hear music that's about the problems that I have, it just makes you feel better, like, okay, they've been through that type of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And it's in a way that I don't think like a therapist or like like a advisor could do for me specifically. It's just music really that really helps me in a way that no one else does, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like I've had a right-brained kind of brain.
Yeah.
Not that everybody uses both sides of their brain, but that's more the creative part. But
Mhm.
did you ever have any experiences where you saw a doctor or you went to a hospital and like, yeah, I think you told me that you have gone
Yeah.
to yeah. What
Yeah.
was how was that? Like, what was the
It,
diagnosis?
um just like severe depression.
Okay.
And and severe like severe anxiety to where like the doctor told me up front, you probably have the worst anxiety of any kid that's ever showed up to this hospital. Like it was I had just like it was bad, man. It was really just not like I couldn't do anything. Like it just like it controlled my entire life, specifically anxiety. Like take depression out of the mix. It's just so taxing because you're thinking, okay, if I work on my depression, I'm still gonna have all these other mental health issues that I have to work on. So tackling like the thought of tackling so many things after the other and working on so many things, it's just like, okay, if I beat this depression, I'm still gonna have the anxiety to worry about. I'm still gonna have the so-called PTSD. I'm still gonna have all these other, things that I have to work on. So it's just like sometimes you just feel like defeated, you know?
Yeah. So how old were you when you first went to a hospital? You
I had to
remember?
be young, man, like 6,
Oh,
maybe.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was young.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's really young to go. I mean, I didn't go to
yeah.
a hospital till I was 27.
Oh
So,
wow.
but
That's
well, my first episode I was 21, but I kind of just uh
yeah,
I was about a month before yeah, I came home and my family was kind of the hospital a couple of
yeah.
times. But yeah, I don't know if I've ever personally met anyone that went to the hospital that young. I mean, um, not off the top of my head.
Hmm.
But yeah, when you say, well, because a lot of times depression and anxiety do go together, but you
Hmm.
use the word severe,
Hmm.
okay, and that's interesting because you know, have you ever is it like when you experience I found that like with depression, it's like everybody has their experience and but it's very hard to describe, right?
Yeah.
You just only there's like feels like a black dog or a
Mhm.
cloud or paralyzing. Like there's words where you go, oh yeah, yeah, is it like that? Can you describe it?
I can describe it very easily because
Yeah,
I'm the one thing about me that's a gift and a curse is I'm very self-aware. So I know like everything that's going on. So like I can say I'm feeling this and I'm feeling this because of that. And all I'm gonna say, man, is ignorance is bliss. I would much rather not know what's going on than know exactly what's going on and then think, what is wrong with me? Like how can you just like just simple tasks, man. It's not that hard. Like, why do you do this? Instead of being like, I'm so angry, I'm so this, I'm so that. I can't think right now. It's like I know what's happening. I know I can register stuff in my brain. Like I don't get blackout anger. It's just like it's just it's I'm very aware of every single thing that goes on with me.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's a good thing. I think self-awareness is like a gift because I feel like I'm pretty self-aware too.
Hmm.
Um, but then, sometimes when these things these crises happen to us, that's an opportunity to become self-aware. Um, and I mean, my experience, like, it doesn't seem like you're in denial of what's going on, right? And denial
No.
is common in recovery meetings, right? Or like, oh, I don't have a problem, right? Or we minimize. But do you think that it, because you're self-aware, has that helped you um, talk about it with people, or at least has that helped you work on it? Or no?
No. And the reason is because no,
Yeah.
and here's the reason. It's because
No, no, I'm not laughing
deny
at you. It's just funny.
no,
Like
you're
you're like,
good, you're
no,
good.
you spread
So
away. No.
you're just like, no, no,
Yeah, yeah,
immediately. Nah, but
yeah,
it's because denial and justification go hand in hand. So when I know everything that I do, I have no room for justification. I have no room for like, okay, well maybe he did this and I'm the victim. I can't play victim ever because I know exactly what I did wrong. So
right.
I can't. If like I wish I had denial, man, because then I could get a pity party and people would bring me some cake and it's like
Yeah,
I want
yeah. Interesting,
I
interesting.
want a pity party, man. It's like
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, so sometimes there's this sentiment where depending on who you follow online or um and I think I've experienced this because when you're in an episode and like it's like people visiting you at the hospital right now. Now, COVID all over the place kind of hindered in-person visits, right? So, but like before COVID, it's probably back to normal now. But like you get all these people to come and see you at the hospital, or you have to write down all your phone numbers on a piece of paper because type
yeah.
it into the wall, right? And there's a time
Yeah.
limit on the phone, right? And so for me, I'm like,
Oh yeah.
so
Oh
it's
my
like,
god.
do you have a lot of community, or like, I think some people, if they don't understand, they could say like, oh, Jared or Max, you're doing this for attention, right? And that can be in the moment kind of like insulting, right? Because you're like, really, you think I'm making up depression to the point where I would end up in the hospital? Like, do you really think I
Shit.
like? Now, there's some things we can like the food can be decent, you don't have to
They give
cook.
you unlimited ginger ale, unlimited ginger
Unli-
ale.
That's
Like,
with yeah. Well, and that's the thing is the food usually like the snacks, it's all like sugar. They're like, what do
oh,
you want? Cookies or chips or cookies?
Uncrustables.
Yeah. Oh,
Uncrustables.
dude, the peanut butter and I know. See, right.
Yeah,
Or like they
yeah,
give you like the pure sugar cereals. But
yeah,
no, I mean it's obviously we've been there so we can kind of joke about it a little bit. There are
yeah.
funny things that you experience, like one time I went and this guy tried to hop the fence like while we were on like a smoke break. And I guess I was leaving. He did it at the end of the break, so I didn't actually see him. But he's just this kind of like, well, I'm not super tall, but I'm 5'8". He was probably maybe a little bit shorter than me. And he just like he did like a Spider-Man, dude, just like straight up the fence. And it's like, it was like a tall, and he went, and then we had group right after. And then like after about 15-20 minutes, you could see the cops like
So
getting him or whatever. But like, dude, you're not escaping from this place.
wait, he didn't or he did succeed? Did
Well,
he?
no, 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 no. He didn't.
I
The police
was
brought him.
about to say,
And then
no
he
way.
went to like a different, like how a lot of
Yeah,
psych hospitals have like multiple units. So anyway,
yeah,
but yeah, like you said, you don't want to have a pity party because that's obviously not going to make you better.
yeah.
But you also
But
want to try to accept help from people, which is a big stumbling block in all of this. Is like we're very self sufficient in our culture. Um, I did find out from my podcast stats though that some people in another is it Germany, some other country listens. Like it's not a lot, but
yeah,
mostly
yeah.
it's America. So anyway, but like, do you have a hard time asking for help or
Very,
yeah,
very hard time. I would rather like I would rather bleed out on the ground alone than have anybody surround me watching me bleed out. Like I would rather just like sit in silence than like just like take it all in myself, which is terrible. It's not good at all. And like even then, going back to what you were saying earlier, I think it's about I like I don't want a pity party, but I do want some sympathy. I feel like sympathy because that's the thing about, you know, if you have justification, you can get some sympathy. But since I don't have any room for justification, I don't gain any sympathy, which means people don't really like people aren't inclined to help me, or at least I feel people aren't inclined to help me if I ask because there's no sympathy because I just don't ask for help, and I always say like, "Yep, that was me," and what he said I did, I probably did. So you know what I mean,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I think we maybe have extremes, right? Like one extreme is to not care at all, right? Which we could call like apathy, and I think a lot of times there's a lot of um, language that like it's not your fault that you're depressed or bipolar or schizophrenic, right? Like because it's kind of on the side of like you were born this way or you were born into it, right? But um, if you think about that 100%, that can kind of make you a little bit powerless, right? Because then you're just kind of like, well, it's not my fault, and then the things that you're choosing to do, like that's not genetic. Like
yeah,
if you punch someone in the face because you're in an episode, you could
yeah,
get in trouble for that. And like even if
yeah,
you know what I mean, if you went to the judge, he'd be like, okay, I get it, you have a disease, but why'd you punch the guy in the face? Right? You would be like, oh,
yeah.
because of the disease.
What, like,
Is that what you
I
mean?
mean,
Like you do things that you're
yeah,
not proud of,
yeah,
and then but you're also, and
yeah.
it's complicated, right?
That's exact. You explained
Yeah,
it
yeah,
perfectly because even then, it's like you know you're when you're angry, right? And this is a question for you. When you're angry,
yeah.
do you go say like when you're angry, do you break stuff or do you like sometimes throw stuff when you have been angry in the past?
No, no,
Okay.
no. I think I've erred on the side of not expressing anger, actually. So like a
That's
lot, yeah, yeah,
that's exactly what so that's exactly I was hoping you say that because that's exactly like how I feel where it's like when you get angry, you just kind of like I've seen videos of like kids back in the 80s when their parents tell them to go to their room, they just slam the door and go, "Ah, I'm so angry."
yeah, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that's how
Well, yeah, I think you're talking about now I've seen people. I was at a hospital once for 2 months,
yeah,
and it was at a time where I'd almost died from, you know, and I was at two different places. So one place I was there for 2 months, and it wasn't really like a long-term place. So I
yeah,
saw this one guy. He came back, I think, two or three times, and he was homeless, and he got taken down by this big like muscly worker
yeah,
guy that I remember talking to a lot, and like so that guy, he got kicked out because he expressed his anger, you could say too much, but then
mhm,
some of what he was doing was still probably better than not saying anything at all, right? So, like, I think what we have to learn with the help of like, therapy or with good community is like, what's a good way to express anger? Because I think doing nothing is not healthy, right? But then also like breaking stuff is also kind of culturally not acceptable in most situations, unless you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're like breaking wood on a tree, or you know what I mean? Like, if usually people get hurt. Does that make sense? So, what's like,
yeah.
do you think you have a good grasp on how to do it in a healthy way, or are you looking back and saying, no, I don't do it in a healthy way, and that's why or whatever,
No, I don't do it in a healthy way, and that's why whatever. Um, because it's like, for example,
Right.
that's the other part of it. I don't do that, but if I were to do that, it would be like this. And it's like, when you get angry, like my friend, he would get angry and he would just break the chair. He's like, I don't think about it. I just do it, right? Like
Okay.
we were talking
Right.
earlier, blackout anger. But me, it's like if I were to do something like that, it'd be like, okay, I'm gonna break this chair. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna kick this person. You know what I mean? It's not like I just do something and I'm not thinking. I'm like, if I did something to you, I definitely thought about it beforehand. Like, I'm gonna punch you in the face. You know what I mean? It's like it's not just a and you know what I mean? Because I'm so angry. It's like you're getting punched. You know what I mean? And I know I'm gonna punch you right now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, and it can be, um, the first place you go, like we kind of started out saying, would be sort of the environment that you're in right now, right? Which is like you're
Mhm.
with your parents and stuff like that. And so, and the second place that you go would be like school, right? Like,
Yeah.
seeing what your peers do and don't do and
Mhm.
stuff like that. But what do you take medication? Has that ever been part of your journey?
A lot, man.
Okay, really? Okay, interesting.
Uh,
Okay.
I the thing is, I know a couple of them, but if you were to ask me the names,
Yeah, a lot of them
I
are
know.
wrong.
Yeah, like they're like I take hydroxyzine, and I'm like, what
Yeah, yeah. So is it
methamphetamine?
just for depression or is it for anything
Yeah,
else? Just depression.
anxiety. Yeah, depression,
Depression,
anxiety,
anxiety. Okay. So
ADHD.
what has been your experience with that? I mean, I'm fast forwarding to now. Like, I've been on meds since I was 22, pretty much. So, or 23. So, I mean, I'm 38. So do the math. That's like a while, right?
Yeah,
Like 16 years.
yeah.
I failed math in ninth grade, so I have to sit and think about that one. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean 15, 16 years, dude. And anyway, I don't want to get into all my
Yeah.
theories of what's good and bad. I do think like being on things for a really, really long time, which is obviously my experience, is different than like, hey, 6 months to a year, right? I think that, but you're also young too,
Yeah.
so that's a different. But yeah, I mean, do you think it helps you, or is it too much, or how do you feel when you take it?
Um, it some of it is like I'm just like, why did the person prescribe me this? And other things is like, wow, this really works. So it's give
Right.
or take. But I have but talking about that, I also have a question for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
go for it.
um, so you've been taking meds a long time, like you
Right.
said.
Yeah.
If you haven't had this experience, I you might be on the level of God because I don't know how anyone has not had this happen. You either you don't have water around you or you can't get to the water in time. You take the meds and it just sticks to the roof of your mouth or you get that terrible taste or sometimes you have the ones that are capsules and sometimes they break in your mouth and it tastes like absolute dog
Oh,
crap.
yeah, yeah. That's like lithium, maybe, or something like
Yeah.
that.
Have you had that? Where it's just like you like because you're not if you don't have if you don't have the water on standby, you're done for. Like you might as well just
Yeah, I have had that happen before where like I take it and I don't have water by me. I've gotten away
ah,
with just swallowing it. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
you're
It hasn't really happened a lot
yeah,
recently,
exactly.
but
There we go.
yeah.
You're saying it like I don't know, man. It's just like you're talking. So I guess you are God, man. What the heck you're talking about? What?
No, no, no. I mean, I know what you mean. Well, the kind of meds that I take is just pills, so
Yeah.
it's not. I know what you mean. Like lithium is been around since like 50s or something like
But even
that,
the
maybe
pills
earlier.
taste bad.
Yeah, yeah, and there's like a powder in it, kind of like how you would take Tylenol, and sometimes
Ah,
Tylenol has a little pill. And
oh my God. I'm
yeah, but so what do you like? What's the relationship that you have with the psychiatrist? Do you think
yeah.
that that's good, or I mean, I know it's a big question. Like,
Yeah.
'cause a lot of times we get either we take too many things and that's called over medicated,
Yeah.
although that how you feel is important, right? How do you
Yeah.
know? I've been over medicated before. I don't think I'm over medicated now,
Mhm.
but anytime I hear someone say like, and I'm not an expert in like asking everyone, right? I mean, just I've done the Reddit bipolar thing before, which is super
Yeah.
interesting and like super sad too. And it's all of the above, so be careful with that. But like, and I don't know what I'm asking. Like, do you? get along with the doctor? Do you try to pay attention to how you feel? Like, do you think it helps you mostly, or are you kind of more like, I don't want to do meds because it makes me blah 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 or whatever?
Um, I would say yes and no because
Okay,
like I do think I'm over medicated currently and I've been over medicated,
okay.
but medical professionals will tell me I haven't. So then I'm just like, am I crazy or like should I listen to the professionals or because I'm starting to get to an age now where it's like I have to be in charge of like my own medical care and all that stuff because it's like I'm still under my parents, you know? So there's gonna be
Yeah, yeah. You're only a couple years away from that change.
yes.
So yeah, yeah.
And I feel like that's the problem, man. The people who work like social workers or psychiatrists, the people that work in that field that you really like always end up leaving. Always. So it's like and then you just got to go and it's usually like you get a good person, you love them, they leave and then the next person you just despise. You know what I mean? It's like in that field it's like the next person is like I hate you. You're never going to
Yeah,
amount
yeah.
to he was great. Like
Well, yeah, I think okay, so here's what I'm curious to know because this is what I've had to work through for years and when I talk about with certain friends and stuff, but like I think the biggest side effect is sort of this numbness, right? So it's like, okay, well, what's the positive, right? You don't feel super down all the time, right? Which is what depression would be, feel down a lot, right?
mhm.
And so then the trade-off is like you feel kind of numb, but then you don't feel down all the time. But then being numb kind of makes you feel down.
I
Makes sense?
I will say this
Yeah.
about numbness. I don't know if this is controversial. I love feeling numb, man.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's
Okay.
the I love it, and the reason I like
Interesting.
it,
Okay.
well, I the reason I like it is because I think when like I can have experiences when I'm numb and not numb, and it is just so great not to care about anything sometimes, man. Like I'm not gonna like if I was totally happy,
Mhm.
I would not be living because I'd be so afraid to die because like I have a fear of that. But when I'm like depressed and numb, I'm just like, all right, I'm about to go with my friends or go do this because I don't really care if I get hit by a bus, you know. So it's just, but if I was like happy and my life was great, I wouldn't want it to end. You know what I mean? So it's like I just being numb for me is just like it's as bad as it is good. Of course, that like you were saying, it's it's like it makes you feel less less careful but also more you know what I mean you care more you know what I mean
Well,
or not less
interesting. Yeah,
careful but like
yeah,
more
yeah.
yeah you get what I mean
Yeah, well, I mean, there's extremes because, yeah, there's a lot to unpack with what you just said because I think
well
numbness can be seen as a negative, but I
it's
think,
100% negative 100%
well,
it's terrible
well, yeah, okay, well, I would say it like this, like
yeah
at least in our American culture, depending
Mhm.
on let's see, what would the word be? Like maybe your financial situation, right? Like we have so much access to so much stuff that numbs us out without medication, right?
yeah
Like this phone right here. Oh, you can't see it.
Mhm.
Okay, phone. What the heck? Oh,
Okay.
all right. So, right, most of us have a smartphone as of since 2007, right?
It's
Like,
when I was born
I that dude, you were born the year the first iPhone came out,
yep
right? I think it was 2007, 2008.
oh wow
Right. And then sure you had all these other, I remember having a BlackBerry in like 2009 and
Mhm.
being like, dude, this phone's awesome. It was like a BlackBerry.
yeah
And so TV, Netflix, I mean, you're talking about how much you love music. And so sure, are all of those things with a little bit of moderation
hmm
okay for us. It depends on what you're watching, depends on what you're, but that stuff very quickly can like totally ruin how we're
yeah
aware of how we feel. So then add on top of that the way that you eat, your diet, and then add on top of that meds, right? So yeah, it's interesting because I would think that your response would be the opposite. You would say, I like feeling happy without the meds, and I don't like feeling numb F these meds. I'm gonna, flush them down the toilet
Let,
tonight and I'll never look back,
yeah. Let me say this
Yeah.
because you need to get some context on because it's because of the type of person I am that I say that. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's so like for some context, I'm the type of person who like I not only have I been alone like like most of my life, like at least 80% of just like locking myself in a room with no human interaction, like to the point where I would go so long without talking to people. My social skills were just like in the negatives, man. It was terrible. And even like now, like I'm like super anxious the whole time I've been talking. Like I've been tapping my leg the whole time. Like even now as I'm speaking, it's just like I literally want to like get up and just like flail my arms and just go full ADHD. So even now it's just hard to have like the
Yeah.
social skills.
Well,
But
I deal with that too, and I think you just I was just having coffee with a friend earlier. That's why I got my Starbucks here, right? Because I have a broken foot, so I I
yeah.
don't want to walk this, even though there is a Starbucks right by where I live. So don't tell my mom, right?
No, you gotta just you gotta milk the broken foot thing, man.
Dude,
Like
I'm
they
not
bring in
rich,
so
man.
many
It
views.
costs a lot of, I know it kind of costs a lot of money to get people to Uber Eats your coffee to you. You're like, this is $12? Okay, anyway, don't tell my mom.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, yeah, I mean, I get what you mean because I mean, if you have a short attention span, there's like what we're doing right now. I know it's being recorded. It's not really a
Yeah.
performance, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we both could be tempted to perform because it's like, whoa, this is being recorded,
Mhm.
and I'm sure I've done that on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Try not to do it. I'm trying to just be me, and try to keep the conversation moving along, and but yeah, I think I know what you mean. It's like if you're always distracted, it's hard to be around other people. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah, because like, and
Yeah,
not distracted like I'm socializing, but distracted like, as you said, my phone and all these other things. But the thing is, like, I'm perfectly fine with just like being in my room for like 24 hours on my phone. When other people are like, okay, I want to get out and talk to people, or I
right.
want to do this and that. I'm totally fine with just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
being numb, being brain dead for just like 24 hours, With
Yeah, well, yeah, that's just, I mean, okay, yeah, I mean, I'm not
well,
trying to fix you, and this
yeah,
isn't
no.
therapy, but some of that sounds unhealthy, right? I
Oh, of
mean,
course. Yeah,
but I do the same thing. I mean, well, I have had a broken foot for 3 weeks, so I haven't been working,
yeah,
and I'm trying to take a little bit of a break from movies, shows, really starting today, actually, because
yeah.
every single night from like 5, 6 p.m., I'm like watching stuff until way too late, getting up late. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, I got a broken foot. Doesn't matter, right? But I'm like, I
That's
don't want to spend all this time on entertainment. And the habit's been going on way before I had the broken foot, right? So, but yeah, I think if you don't know what to redirect that, you have all this creative energy. So, but you're saying that you're spending some of that time probably doing music, right?
also that's the thing.
Yeah,
When I say not so, I also mean doing music as well. I'll 24 hour music session in my room alone, talking to nobody, playing guitar until my fingers bleed. Like that's like that was like the norm for me for like a couple years. And I like also another reason I say I like numbness or maybe not even like, but just a word that that is like maybe a step down from like, but I'm not saying I hate it, but I'm not saying I love it, but I'm not saying I don't love it. You know what I mean? But it's
right.
because of mainly because of my outlook on life. I have a very like I don't want to get too much into like because I respect everybody's opinion, and I always say my personal opinion on things is every religion, everything's valid because it's whatever helps us move along as a society.
Yeah,
Whatever basically to sum it up, whatever helps you sleep at night. Whatever helps you sleep at night, I'm okay. I'm not gonna like
yeah,
try to convert anyone to how I think, or if someone tells me their opinion, I'm gonna of course respect it because I do actually respect it because you know what I mean. It's not like I'm just like thinking that's wrong. Or I'm thinking in my head, that's wrong after someone tells me this or that or their beliefs. I'm like, that's cool, dude, you know? And
Mhm.
so, but my outlook on life is very like definitely nihilist, optimistic nihilist, or like somewhat of an atheist. So like I have a very like nothing that you do matters in the grand scheme of the universe type outlook on life. And so also there when I say optimistic nihilism, I mean if nothing matters, you have way more freedom than you thought, right? You have the freedom to go and create your own path and not be held back by, so-called the man upstairs or the man downstairs, You just
Right.
you can just be who you are and and try to make yourself better instead of thinking if I don't make myself better, I'm gonna go here or there. It's
Yeah.
and
Well,
so there
yeah, well, you got to focus on something that, you know, whether you call it God or not is not
Mhm.
really the point. I think, in
Yeah.
AA or any kind of anonymous meeting, it's always
Hmm.
higher power because it's like if you say it's Christian, then a lot of
Hmm.
people wouldn't really like that,
Yeah.
right? So that's my
Yeah.
belief. I mean, I consider myself a Christian, although
Mhm.
I've been more um, open and I don't know what the word is, flexible to other
Yeah.
people's,
But
to, psychedelics or all these
yeah.
other things. I'm a little bit more open to different opinions that might not
Mhm.
seem like, but
Yeah.
yeah, I
But
mean,
also,
yeah, yeah,
who am I to say you're wrong? Because
right.
at the end of the day, no one knows. And at the end of the day, you're doing a podcast talking about your experiences, helping other people with their experiences, bettering your life, and you're a Christian. So who am I to tell you that your religion or your views are wrong?
Well, yeah, I've thought about that a lot with this. I mean, now, like I said, it's been 5 years, which is crazy. It's been 5 years
Yeah.
of doing this, but like, yeah, if I wanted to convert people to what I think, it would
Mhm.
have to be a different kind of, you know what I mean? I'd have to just start a
Yeah.
new podcast on, like, I don't know, daily sermons from Jared or something. Not that that's bad, but
Good
that
name
that
though.
would be more. And even you'd want people who just listen because they, I don't know, not agree with you. I mean, that might be a little
Mhm.
too like, feeding the ego a little bit too much. Like, oh, everybody agrees with me. But I think with mental health, it's just it affects everyone,
Mhm.
and I think that that's why you have to be respectful of, unless the thing that you believe is causing destruction, right? Whether
That's
you know what I mean. It doesn't matter if you're like, I believe in God or not. If you're upholding a view that like you want to die and you want to be
yeah.
suicidal, I
Hmm.
think it doesn't matter what you believe. It's just like,
Yeah.
try to get rid of those thoughts. But even
What?
telling someone to get rid of it, in my opinion, you have to believe in something a little bit outside of yourself to not get rid of the thoughts, but to, to does that make sense? Like, go down a different path,
Yeah. You
right?
know.
Because not having those thoughts is, it could
Yeah.
hurt yourself. But what do you
And
think about yourself? Like, do you have enough self worth to want to live?
like, do I have
Yeah,
enough self
yeah.
worth
Well,
to?
I mean, yeah, I guess I'm skipping
Yeah.
over like, sorry, you were probably gonna say something. I know what I was saying, but
No,
I
no, no. You're good.
just
You're
thought
good.
of like, have you ever been suicidal? I was thinking to ask you
100%.
that too. Yeah,
I've had suicide attempts actually, and
yeah.
uh and for me, my outlook on it is honestly, well, because I told you I have a very like kind of optimistic nihilism, like kind of borderline hopeless, man, borderline hopeless type of view on the world. I truly think at the end of the day, like we humans are disgusting animals, and I want like just the human race to be wiped out so we can start over, man. We're terrible. Like we've messed up the earth so badly, man. There's no coming back. But no, and I'm not, I'm kind of joking, but
You're like, you have the
yeah,
Thanos
I've
thinking.
snapped
You just want
50% of them.
seven
Thanos was the
seven
good guy.
infinity stones or something. You want
Yeah.
to time and whatever the other ones are. Yeah.
Thanos was the good guy. And there's even theories on how you're thinking from a standpoint. You see him doing these disgusting things, right? Like killing people and being he basically let his daughter die. But when you don't focus, if you when you focus on the higher message of he's wiping out 50% of the population, which is devastating, and people would lose their lives and all this other stuff. But like people and the earth have bounced back from worse. And also, if you're talking, I don't, and I probably my view probably seems somewhat ignorant. So remember, I'm 16. So, but but like
Yeah,
down the line, man, people are gonna bounce back, and it'll probably be better than it was before. Because if you think about it, it wasn't picked. It was at random, 50% of the population random. So there was no picking and choosing, and the population would have increased to a point where like it would have been terrible, and we would have had restrictions on how many like humans people could create, and it would just lead more problems. You know what I mean? So in the far 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 future, I feel like it would have been better. I do think even in that, that's still a disgusting thing to do.
yeah,
But it's just when you're thinking about it from like a standpoint of like somebody who again has a hopeless kind of
yeah.
outlook on life.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean, some of it is that I hear what you're saying. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's interesting to talk about because I think we can be overly dualistic, right? Like, which a
mhm.
lot of faith religion has this, right? Like something that's good, you want to do the good thing or the right thing, and then something that's bad, you want to avoid it or kind of excommunicate whoever's bad. And so there's kind of this like good or bad, and it's a little all or nothing. But I think mental dysfunction or disorder, um,
Yeah,
I think makes you see a very real part of people that can be very dark, right? Like having suicidal thoughts for yourself that no one
yeah.
sees, that's very dark,
I
right?
have,
And that's an experience that you can be grateful for,
yeah,
if you can believe that you can get better and get to
mhm,
a place where you're not immune to that. Like, I'm very aware of where I've been in the past,
yeah,
and to some extent, I would say I think about it like, I don't know, does that make sense, right? Like I think like
yeah,
if you've been to a hospital, you see, and we probably overuse the word crazy, but you see people in some real pain,
yeah. It's
you know?
hard, man. And like
Yeah,
I tell everybody there, and some of them actually listen, some of them don't really care. I say
yeah,
suicide is a permanent fix to a temporary problem, and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what that means. And the biggest thing is, um, I wanted to tell you about with my music. I have a song that
yeah,
I'm working on, and it's about just like how people think of me, and like one of them was like just my experience about because I'm not like we're not middle class. We're definitely not the most financially stable. I mean, I'm in an attic right now, so like, but
like the
I
kid
have
in Home Alone, he was in the attic.
yeah. So my bar or my a part of my song, I'll give you the lyrics to it. It goes I'll like it's just about how just like I want so badly to just like do better and be better, but not just do or be better. Like I want to be perfect. Like this it's for me it's all or nothing. So I said like in my song I'm writing, I said I want to burn my money like the Joker when I get my first rack. I want to go to the mental hospital and have them not say, "Oh, Max, you're back." So that's one of the lyrics that I wrote. It's just about like sometimes like I really like I want to have so much money that I can just throw it in people's like I want to be like a greedy ass like you know what I mean? Like I really just want to like it's so bad to say, but like I just like it's like all or nothing for me. And I want I want I want them to like I want to be able to go to like I said, I want to be able to go to the mental hospital and not have them say, "Oh Max, you're back." Instead, I want them to say, "How can we help you?" or "How can we do this or that?" You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Because
Well,
I
yeah,
had be
yeah. I
like,
mean, yeah. I think it's important to, I've been away from the hospital since June 2020,
Hmm.
That was the last time I went, which was 3.5 years ago now at this point, right? So I think this summer will be 4 years.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that.
Hmm.
I think you can, I think if we heal and we get better and there's hope, look
Hmm.
back at those experiences and, you know, be
Yeah.
grateful that we went through some hard things that I feel like I think of people that I've seen in the hospital before, and I think about some of
Yeah.
those experiences where I've heard people share things, and it makes me grateful for the like the people that love me, but
Mhm.
yeah, man, yeah. So where what so what? Tell me more about the music thing. So
Yeah.
is this song that just came out like it's on Spotify or what?
Yeah, it's coming out February 14th on all platforms. It's called
Okay,
Orbit.
okay,
It's with one of my friends from the UK. His name's DJ Chef. Goes
okay,
by Chefian. And
okay.
it's I like to, because a lot of my songs are about like mental health and what I go through. So it's just fun to have those personal experiences for me and not have to stress myself about writing something deep and just, just like having fun with a song. Like we just wrote kind of like a love kind of Valentine's Day song. So just like something that's not too deep, take a break from all the like excessive thinking and just get in the studio with your friends and have fun, because people need that, man, just to like have just like an amount of time where they can just like not have to worry about just like stresses, man, just like anxiety.
Yeah, that's cool. And then are you trying to make an album, or are you just kind of doing it like one song at a time kind of thing?
I think I'm gonna do a one song at a time kind of thing until I gain some clout, and just kind of, and then I might be like, okay, guys, ready for the EP or ready for the album, and like, and
Okay.
my plan is to just use everybody for my personal gain, like I'm doing now. No, not playing. No, 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 no. But
Because I have such a
yeah,
huge audience
nah, man.
with
No,
half of my face lit up right now.
you're an example of the talent doesn't match the fame because you're talented at interviewing people. That's a prime example of the talent doesn't match the
Wow.
fame.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, well, I think I've gotten better at it. I did a lot of stuff in 2021 interviews. It
Hmm.
was after 2021 was kind of like after went through a really hard time. I didn't do a lot of the podcast, and
Hmm.
I know I didn't. I recorded yeah, I'll receive your compliment because I think if you listen to yourself talk a lot, kind of like pick yourself apart more, you know. And it's not like that. I've gone back and listened to like everything I've done. I haven't done that. I've done some of that, but yeah, man. I mean, I'm interested in just wanting to help people, and I'm learning comes from talking. I mean, that's not the only way to learn, but even if you read a lot or you take in things, you really start understanding what you think about it when you start talking about it. So it's like
Yeah.
you could just sit and read every book on depression, which is
Hmm.
some 50 plus thousand books have been written on depression. It's like that would take you a while, right? But
Yeah.
nothing compares to connecting with other people about it and like
Hmm.
trying to not change people's minds either. Like I don't necessarily think I have that approach. Like think what I think. And I've had a lot of good friends in my life who have challenged me with different viewpoints on things that I'm still kind of wrestling with
Okay.
now, you
That
know.
on that. So people challenge you on different viewpoints, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I want to challenge you on a viewpoint real quick, and I need to know.
All right.
And so, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh, because it has a bun.
Yes.
So that's
Is
bread, and that's considered a sandwich.
Yes, but a sandwich is something that's like this, not like this. So technically a hot dog isn't a sandwich because if you look on like the official like food bureau, a sandwich is something that's this way, not this
I
way.
feel
There's
like
no
I've heard
sandwich.
this question before. Um, well, I'm on a 90-day body mat health challenge that I'm doing with Giving Business Soul. So shout out to my friends at Giving Business Soul, and also my buddy Jacob, who's doing a thing too, and doing a health challenge with his family and friends and stuff. So I was gonna say, when I go to the movie theater, I love hot dogs, dude.
Yeah.
That's where it's at, man. And I think here they're called like Nathan's hot dogs.
Yes.
You know,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
like
Yep.
$8 for one or something like that, or something stupid.
Yeah.
And I would say I was gonna say it's a sandwich because of the bun, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking, is that the answer
I mean,
you get, or what is it? What is it then? Just a
I
hot dog?
think a hot dog is processed
Specialty item?
processed yeah, processed crap that is terrible for you but tastes really good. Like stuff like I don't even want to
Sounds
know
like
what's
a
in
lot of
it.
food in America,
Yeah, exactly. But
for sure.
even then, on a more serious note,
Yeah.
um like you have people that like support you. Like you know what I mean? Like you have like people that like you have to have at least like one person or two people or multiple people who like whether it be with the louder now, like people just watch every episode or people who even in your personal life who are just always there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like do you have those types of people or is it
I
just
do, yeah. I do. I mean, on Sundays I do a book club with some friends, and originally it started out with people that I knew, like going into it, church friends, my buddy Jacob, and we all met through church, and now it's been going. Let's see, this summer will be 2 years.
oh
We
wow.
meet on Sundays, yeah, and it's kind of evolved into a lot of people coming that
Mhm.
I've just met through the book club, and every time we do a book, so yeah, that's become like its own community in and of itself. And my
Mhm.
fam, we live together. We just moved into a new
That's
place
it.
in August, and he's one of my best friends. But yeah, for me, church has always been a place of community. So I have a lot of friends, and then this podcast, I've met a lot of people doing this. I've had a
Mhm.
lot of people when I did stuff back in 2021. It was a lot of people I just met on Facebook.
Mhm.
You too. Are you pointing to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm giving you a really long answer, but yeah, I work with NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness. I do speaking with them. I've made a lot. I've had some people from NAMI on this podcast. So
Mhm.
yeah, man, I've been very blessed with community, and uh, outside of my family, I've had a lot of really close friends that I do. Yeah, I know. I think part of my encouragement to people is like, it's not so much about talking about your symptoms with people around you and saying like, hey guys, I'm having one of those days where I'm really
Yeah.
depressed, right? I think you can do that.
Mhm.
I think it's more just about like having just good friends where like part of the conversation can be, um, I think sometimes we think people need to understand everything, right? Like, so most people I know, aren't on medication. I'm on medication, right? Or maybe they
Yeah.
were at some point in their life. And I was just hanging out with a friend today talking about some of that stuff. But I think what trips us up maybe is like, you don't necessarily need, I think it'd be important to have a therapist or a coach or like a mentor in your life where you can really talk about that stuff more like explicitly when you really to. But a lot of times it gets a little confusing. Like, just try to have good friendships, and your bipolar or your thing, you could talk about that, but it's probably not going to be like the whole conversation, right? And I've definitely been there where I'm like, oh, I really need to talk about this. But I think some of these friendships, it's more just like we kind of just talk about everything, which I
Yeah.
think is healthy. Like where you're just like, dude, we can talk about Marvel movies or what we're watching, or and the list goes on and on and on. And those are the people where I don't think you need like a ton of that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I need 15 different
Yeah.
friends, but Yeah, what about you, dude? Who are you connected with?
I have like very few people,
Okay.
but one big one is probably my girlfriend because she just like she has single handedly carried my mental health like
Okay.
like on
Okay.
one
What a
shoulder.
girl. What a girl.
I know, man. She's amazing, and she's like
Oh,
my
there we
number
go. I
one
didn't have
fan.
the lamp all the way up. Is that better?
Oh, that's
Amateur,
much
dude.
better.
Amateur.
Okay,
The
that's
lamp was
much
right.
better.
Is that better? Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
Oh,
We waited an hour to do that. So,
it's just
okay,
like
my bad. Shout out to my buddy Jacob. He just gave me this lamp. That's you can't see it,
nice.
but anyway.
Um,
So your
but yeah,
girlfriend helps kind of keep you on the narrow path.
yeah, she's definitely like it's definitely like she's definitely the one because like there's nobody at any point in my life who's been able to just like single handedly keep me from like cutting myself and like doing just like bad things that are just
Yeah,
not like just negative things, and
yeah,
it's like you really like somebody when it's like you consistently like smile every time they walk in a room. Like you consist like we've been dating for a while and it's still like every time she says, yeah, we can call later, I'm like, let's go, let's go. Like, I want to dap up my friend and be like, she said we can call, man, let's go. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Well, no, I mean it's it's I mean social media friends, right? It's always about
Mhm.
numbers and get your followers and
Yeah.
yeah, I would like to have more than 500 followers, but I probably have to work harder at that, as far
Yeah.
as like the stuff I put out, I have to put up stuff where it would kind of attract more people. But in reality, no, you just need a
Yeah.
few good people. And so, but yeah, when you're making your music though, is that like a community experience? Like,
100%.
yeah, because you're kind of collaborating with people, like you said, you're okay.
Like
Yeah.
especially for like um my new song Orbit, February 14th. Got to get that promo out there.
All right. All
Um,
right. We got you. It'll be in the notes. Yeah.
yeah, gotta get the promo out there, man. No, but it's just like for my new song, it's like it's so like such a calming experience and relaxing experience to just be able to like sit down for like what I even like because people don't understand music doesn't take like an hour or two to make. The people who make music in an hour or two have 23 followers on SoundCloud. Now granted, I have 23 followers on SoundCloud, but
It
but
takes
that's not
longer
the
than
point.
that. It takes
Yeah,
longer.
it takes
Yeah.
and like people um like like someone asked me if I would keep making music if no one listened to it, and I'm like, that's what I'm doing now. So
Right.
it's
I
like
get it.
it's
Well,
like
a lot of podcasting is like that.
yeah.
Honestly, man, I don't have like a huge audience, according
Mhm.
at least to like the downloads. And then like I've put more stuff on YouTube in the last
Yeah.
couple
Well,
of years.
even then, you
Yeah.
can thank me, man. You can thank me because I'm about to generate you about 5 extra views. So you're welcome for that one, dude. You're welcome. Welcome for those.
Oh, good, dude.
And the
Well,
five
no,
are
I
gonna be
think
like,
it's yeah.
yeah,
If you only do it, well, yeah, you could look at the numbers and be like, "Oh, I suck, only
yeah,
5 people." But if you actually were to picture like this podcast I listen to about podcasting, they always say it's like, if you have 30 people listening, the downloads don't tell you how long they listen. That's the hard part
yeah.
about it. So, like a lot of these talks are an hour, or whatever. So
Mhm.
it's like, oh, did you listen to the whole thing? And I think when you put stuff on YouTube or Facebook, and then, if you get people to interact with what you're doing, or streaming is kind of good for that because then it's live. But anyway, but the point being, like, even if it's 10 people, if you had 10 people in your room, well, that would be a crowded room, but like that, you know what I mean? You wouldn't be like, oh, well, this is dumb. I'm not going to make a song for 10 people in the room.
Yeah.
But like if I had 10 people just show up in a room and they're like, oh, here's a
Mhm.
mic, just talk for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, what would I say? I would be
Um,
like, oh, I'd probably start talking about my mental health story and things I've learned and my relationship with faith and God and how that's changed my stuff I'm learning
yeah,
about my body. You know what I mean? Like it would be a
yeah.
lot, it would be real. You'd be like, dude, 10 people is a lot.
I s-
So yeah.
I don't know if I'm tripping, but I just thought you said stuff I've learned about my butt. I don't know why it sounded like that. I don't know if the it glitched for the
Um,
perfect moment. No, I'm joking. But
no, that's a different podcast. So
no,
yeah, you gotta go find, just go in that search and no, I'm just kidding. Don't
no,
do that. Don't
yeah,
even don't do that unless you already have. Then I can't help you with that. So
man,
not
no,
here,
fine.
like I
But
said, not here to fix you, bro. Not here to fix you.
yeah,
You do you.
not
You do
because
you.
like if I want to look up butt podcasts, I think I can do that in my own. No, but I was gonna say
Google is $1 billion company. They'll help you out with that.
exactly.
No, I'm kidding. Don't do
Yes.
that.
Help me out with anything I
But yeah,
want,
I
man.
mean, no, but you gotta do it because you love it and
Yeah,
because it helps you. And a lot of what makes us better is giving, right? It's like one of the steps in recovery. Like you get to a point where you forgive people, you make amends, you get sobriety, you get a sponsor. Like the
yeah,
first part of it is it's kind of all about you, right? But then eventually you get to a point where, and I'm not saying that I have a bunch of sobriety or whatever to say this, I've just been to meetings and it's
mhm,
like you get to a point where then you got to start giving to other people,
yeah.
and I think if you can learn that when you're young, that's going to help you.
I
So,
have a question for you.
yeah,
Um, so you were talking about if you had 10 people in a room and they just gave you the mic, you would start
right.
speaking about, like you said, your mental health. And can I swear on here or no?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Like some people, you it sucks because like you're saying 10 random people in a room or 10 of your supporters get in a room or just 10 anybody, 10 I don't know, 10 like
Well,
pigs
I
come in
would
a room.
say 10 people who follow you like on
Yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah.
not
Okay. So
necessarily
then
random people.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then 10 people who follow you get in a room and it just sometimes you don't execute, man. And that's the problem I struggle with. Not
Hmm.
so much embarrassment, but it's like the problem is like some people just don't give a fuck about mental health, man. And that's what like some people, even if they're
Hmm.
following you
Yeah.
and supporting you, some people just want to turn up. Like, it just sucks because like people
Yeah.
don't care about serious topics. Like I remember was talking in front of I can't it was I think it was a festival or something or some type of speech festival thing. Went up, everyone was talking about their experiences. I was the youngest one there, so granted I probably didn't have that much street cred because of my age because I did this when I was like 13. But I went up. I'm like, okay, this is my time to shine. I'm going to be vulnerable, help some people. Did you know that? Like it was just like, and then it was like,
Yeah.
you suck. You are
Yeah.
terrible. Get this, and I was like, yo, like it was just like, don't commit suicide. Like it was just not. It was not. I literally, my words were, don't commit suicide. Like those my exact words. Went up in front of 50 people and just said, listen, don't commit suicide. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, still good advice, but
I mean, yeah, but no one's
yeah.
gonna
Well,
care.
I mean,
People,
I think with
yeah.
COVID, like a lot of speaking I've done has been on Zoom, and most of it's still 3 years later, 4 years later. Dude, we're coming up on 4 years of
Mhm.
since COVID, which is crazy. Kind of made more things online and Zoom, and that is easier on your nerves to like record in your room than in person. And so, yeah, that just kind of takes some practice.
Mhm.
Like, I know when I've done stuff in person, it's always a lot better. And then it is still like one time I was trying to get somebody to film me and I wanted to do my thing without a script in front of me. And
Uh-huh.
so I tried and I got super nervous and I had to like pull the script out. And so
Yeah.
eventually I got it. I got it after like
Mhm.
3 or 4 tries, like
Mhm.
whatever. So yeah, it's I mean, yeah, just keep working on your stuff, man.
Yeah, it's
Eventually
like
the opportunity will come where you have you ever done music live though? Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
I've played live and it was the most nerve-wracking thing ever, but once you're up there, it's just like you're in a music trance, man. It's just like you just like because it's not like you can be like, ah! Wait, hold on, let me start over. I did that wrong. Like you got to keep
Yeah.
running. You can't just say let me start over. It's like you got to do it one take either flawlessly or shit. So it's like it's not there's no in between. You can't just like redo. So it's like and it's also like everybody who comes there is there to support you. Or that, or they're just like there to like eat if you're like playing at a restaurant or something, which then it's more nerve-wracking because then they can be like, you suck, never, like, why did they hire you? But like if it's people who come to
Yeah,
like support
in
you,
between bites, in between
yeah.
bites.
Like
This guy. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
And
yeah,
even
you have a lot, man, you're young and you got a lot of time to practice. And it's cool that you're at this age and you know what you want to do. I mean, you know what you want to work on. I think that that's a huge gift when you're, especially when you're young, because a lot of life is trying things or trying to not be afraid to try things. And
yeah.
sometimes people can just like spend a lot of time not following that like the path the intuition that's like, hey, I really want, so okay, man, well, let's so where can people find you? You're on Instagram. Tell me your I'll put all this info in the notes, and then we'll make sure to like
Yeah.
share your song when, because February
Yeah.
14th is like a month away or a little bit less
Mhm.
than a month away. But where can people find your music? Are you on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? What's all that about?
I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on
Okay.
TikTok. It's 100 Odd Spiders. I'm on all platforms. Already have some music out, so just look
Okay.
up 100 Odd Spiders on any
Okay,
platform.
I'll have to follow you on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok a ton, but I do
And
put some of my podcast stuff on there. So, yeah,
also to end it off on
yeah,
a good note, I
yeah.
wanted to tell a story.
Okay,
So I as you know, I produce and I engineer. So this guy hit me up. He's like, I want to do a song about mental health. Like, I want to do like a series. He told me he like had an in-depth description, like just about like some sensitive subjects, like rape and just like stuff that's just like sensitive that he wanted to talk about. And he paid me like $300, $400 to come in for like an hour. And no joke, he comes in and makes a song about how when he poops, he lets it crust in his ass and then peels it off and then grinds it into a powder and puts it on his chicken. And I'm like, bro, you just spent $400.
oh my gosh, I don't
Like,
know if I can use it. I thought you were gonna tell a serious story.
let me end it off by saying
All right,
on a
well,
real
let's use the serious story instead.
okay,
Okay,
serious story.
yeah,
Um, just serious story to end it
yeah. Well,
off.
I
Just
always ask people like, what's your advice to people?
yeah,
What's
yeah.
what is your thing that you would say? So yeah, you're already getting to it, which is fine. So yeah, what would you say to people your age or not your age, whatever? Just what would you
No,
say?
I get it. You say something like that, it's like it totally throws you off. You're like, okay, what is he gonna do next?
I
But
know you're teasing, yeah.
but yeah, man, just I got a lot of stuff to say, but the biggest thing is thank you to you for having me because that's
Yeah,
it's
of course, man.
great opportunity. And to everyone else, I hate you all. I'd never want to see any of you again. No, I'm sorry. No, to everyone else, you guys are all great, and like thank you to everyone who supports me. And if you're like struggling with anything, you know what? If you're struggling with anything, hit me up. I don't give the greatest advice, but I'll always listen. And you know, and if you're struggling, with something that's pretty deep, I'd say just, have acceptance,
Yeah,
acceptance that things are how they are and that things are going to get better, because you can't have acceptance that things are going to get better without having acceptance that things are how they are, and
right.
then once you've accepted that, you can say, I'm not going to do like I said, I'm not going to do like a 360 and turn my life around, but I'm going to work at it. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to get better. So that's the thing. If you're trying, then you're doing better than half the people out there. So I'm saying like, just try. Um, and there's people that you can talk to because, I know like therapy costs money and all that. And so
Right.
like there's ways to like talk to people. Like for example, you can I guarantee like you do stuff for free too. Like at your church, you talk to people. This is what you do. So like there's definitely like things if you're struggling with something, there's things that people can do to like reach out. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I'm on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and not on TikTok as much, but I
yeah.
try to use those platforms to post about the podcast.
Hmm.
And yeah, if you guys need to talk to either of us, obviously you know
Yeah.
where to find us. But yeah, Bro, you're welcome, man. Thank you for it's fun. Like I broke my foot like 3 weeks ago, so
Yeah.
I've been kind of just in recovery mode and not really
Yeah.
um just trying to kind of figure out the best way to manage my time and trying to read.
Yeah.
And so I definitely love doing the podcast, and I've kind of been on,
Mhm.
really it's been like a couple of months since I've done a talk. So thank you, man. And yeah, I'll make sure to put all this information in the notes. And yeah, thanks for your time today. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing your story.
Yeah.
It's
Thank
good to
you,
hear
man.
from. Yeah, man.
I'm I'm gonna break my foot soon, bro. Because this all sounds good. So I swear I'm just gonna go break my foot,
It's
man. Because that sounds.
no, don't do that. No, no, I'm an extrovert by nature, so I've had a lot of people come and visit me, and I'm just it's doing the podcast is like it's not the same as in person, but it
Yeah.
helps me just have a conversation like this online. Helps me too. It's like almost the
But
same as being like, hey, let's go get coffee.
yeah.
So
Then the last thing is just what I said earlier. Nobody come to me. Everyone just come to him because just trauma dump on him. He's not just human. He's God. He will talk to you about all your problems and help you with every
oh,
single thing. He will fix your life.
you
Only
can't.
talk to him.
Yeah, you can't trauma dump because then there'll be a trauma bond, and then you have to break that.
Whoever's watching,
So
you don't need a therapist. You just need him. No, no,
yeah,
don't listen to me. Don't listen to anything I'm
in
saying.
youth group, it was called having a soul tie. Okay, that's
Yeah,
where so let's just
yeah,
keep that up, guys. We don't want no unhealthy soul ties. All right,
yeah.
okay, man. Well, I'm gonna let you go, bro. I text you on Instagram, details of everything, and I'm gonna try to get this published soon. So
Yeah, of
watch for me on your Insta. So,
course.
all right,
Thank you.
man. Have a good night.
You too.
Peace out.
Peace.